Thanks for tuning in, everyone. Today I wanted to talk to you all about retail and reuse and how we can use the two things together to drive a more sustainable future. It sounds like a bit of an oxymoron, doesn't it, using retail to help save the environment? But I think it's something that we actually really can and need to do, and this talk's going to give you a bit more insight into that. Every year in Australia we currently throw away 67 megatons of solid waste, and 27 of those end up in landfill. Now, of those 67 megatons, 13 of them start out as council waste, so that means 13 megatons are furniture, white goods, bits of scrap timber that are thrown out on the curb as hard rubbish. At the moment, most of the solutions that we've got focus on breaking things down to their raw elements. So we take all our glass from the bin, we crush it up into tiny little pieces and we make it into road surface. Or we take all our soft plastics and we melt them right down and turn them into park furniture. But what about all the things that are good enough to use as they are, or can be lightly repaired or repurposed without being broken down into tiny, tiny little bits again? According to a German study, only 8.3% of new appliances are actually bought to replace broken ones. So that means over 90% of the appliances that are thrown out are perfectly good. In the US, of all the furniture that gets thrown out every year, only 0.1% actually gets recycled. To put that into an Australian context, we each throw out about 24 kilos of furniture a year on average. If we recycle the same way as the US our furniture, then we recycle about 24 grams of that furniture, so about the equivalent of a AA battery. Now we could say that we do that because we're always chasing the best and brightest and latest gadget and the thing that works better than anything we've had before, but that's not really true. That doesn't explain why we buy Harley Davidsons, or why we buy Smeg appliances, or why we buy all the hundreds of different retro looking things that don't function anywhere near as well as some of their contemporaries. There's also entire industries made out of making things that both look and function not as well as new things. They look and function like things that are 20 or 30 or 40 or 50 years old. Shots Emporium down here in Geelong is massive, and everything they sell looks and feels like it's 40 or 50 or 100 years old. And then you've got things like the Bush digital radios, which were absolutely everywhere for a little while there. So if we're not buying things because they meet our needs better than old things, and we're not buying things because they look newer than the old things that we had, then why are we buying all those new things? We don't buy used goods because we're afraid they're going to break, or we're afraid they're going to fail, or we're afraid that they're going to cost too much to fix. And even if we are willing to fix them, we don't know where to find people who will repair them anymore. We all know that it's potentially environmentally better for us to be shopping secondhand, but at the end of the day, it's not as convenient to do so, and because it's not as convenient, we don't do it. I'm sure all of you tuning in are very aware of the issues that we face from climate change at the moment, and I'm sure you're all also pretty aware that we've got finite resources on this planet and that we really need to do something about controlling the amount of them we use. Yet, at the same time, I imagine there's a very, very small number of you tuning in who have, for instance, given up your car and chosen to ride bikes and public transport everywhere. And the reason for that's convenience. At the moment, for most of us, it's not as convenient to hop on your bike and go to work as it is to hop in your car to do so, and that's why we continue to hop in our cars and we continue to buy cars instead of repair them, and we continue the cycle of consumption. The fact that we all know that we'd be doing better things for the environment by jumping on a bike or jumping on public transport proves that all the education from the last 50 years has worked. It proves that we're all aware of the problems, but it proves that at the end of the day, we are all creatures of convenience, and we don't really want to sacrifice our lives or feel like we're sacrificing any of our conveniences for environmental causes. Cars are just one example. In life in general, we don't like to give up our conveniences. If we have the choice between doing what we're doing and doing something that's going to be less convenient for us, we're going to continue to do what we do. Another great example of this is fridges. Now, if your fridge breaks down tomorrow, how many of you are actually going to go out and get it repaired? You're going to hunt for a local repairer, see if you can find someone who still does it, who's open at the hours that you need, and you're then going to spend half a day waiting around for them to show up to repair it, or are you going to fear that the repair is going to cost half of what the fridge is worth and another bit's just going to break down? Are you going to hunt through Gumtree and eBay and Facebook Marketplace through all the private ads to try and find a fridge that's nearly as new as the one that you've currently got, and that says it's in working condition, and that's nice and clean, and that's the right size that you need, and then go and hire a trailer to pick it up and hope that it all works fine when you get it home? Or are you going to walk into Harvey Norman's, find the fridge that's the right size, get it delivered to you, and pay it off over the next 24 months? To make reuse popular and to increase the amount of reuse that happens, we need to make it convenient. Making reuse convenient is really the point of this whole discussion. If we can make reused goods just as convenient as new ones, then not only are we going to have a lot more people who are already interested in saving the environment, not only going to make it easier for them to buy reused, but we might even find that people who don't even realise that they're doing so are going to buy reused goods. And that's exciting, because not only does that mean less things being thrown out, but it means less new things being made. Now, how do we make reuse, repair and repurposing convenient? Well, we learn from new goods. We make sure that what we sell is as good as a new thing. We make sure that it does everything that a customer expects it to do, just like a new one. We make sure that it comes with a warranty like a new good. And really importantly, we make sure that people can actually access it. We make sure that the stores that sell it are open regular hours and have experienced staff and provide delivery and provide payment options. At the moment, if you want to go out and buy second-hand electronics, you've got the option of buying them privately, or you buy from a cash converters or someone like that who gives you a 30-day warranty at best. None of those goods are tested, they're generally not cleaned or inspected, so it's really up to you to know how good they are. And the same goes with second-hand furniture. If you're not buying it privately, then you're buying it through an op shop or a vintage market or a Sunday market, and it's up to you to tell whether the piece is any good, whether it needs repairs, and to figure out how on earth to get it home. Second-hand clothing is a little bit easier. You've got some amazing vintage markets out there, and you've got a heck of a lot more stock in all of the op shops and charity shops for second-hand clothing, but still you have to inspect the piece yourself and make sure it hasn't been smoked in, make sure it doesn't have any holes in it, make sure it doesn't have any stains. That's all up to you, and that's not something you expect when buying new. When you buy new, you know that it's going to be perfect, you know there's not going to be any faults with it, and you know if there are any faults that you can get it changed over easily, and that's the sort of convenience that we need to provide with used goods. My wife and I established the Reimaginarium 18 months ago to test this theory. We wanted to put together products that were as good as new, present them with the same respect as new products, and offer all the same conveniences of delivery and knowledgeable staff and regular opening hours. And guess what? It worked. We have a great response to the products that we offer. People trust them, people respect them, people don't barter with them like they would in an op shop, they don't complain about the pricing, they treat them like they're a new good. And not only have we had a wonderful experience with being able to provide these sorts of goods to people, but we've also had people coming to us. We have people who have had things that they've owned for 10, 20, 50 years or have been in the family for generations, that they've come to us so excited they can now find an excuse to have those things. They can find a way to get them repaired or repurposed or reimagined into something that their family can actually use and continue to use for another generation or two generations. And that's wonderful, because that's a piece of family history, and that's something that we know is going to be used for another 10 years or 20 years or 30 years, well beyond the life cycle of most of the things that have been bought new to replace it. In this 18 months, our business has more than doubled in size. We've now got over a dozen people from around Australia whose amazing creative work we're able to support, and we're able to show the people of Geelong that second-hand isn't second best by being able to provide them with a quality range of goods from drinking glasses to bedside tables to Bluetooth speakers to kids' dresses, all of which are as good as new and all of which are almost entirely used materials. I mentioned the 63 million megatons of waste that we produce every year earlier, and at the moment what we do in our little shop is a drop in the ocean. We worked out over the last 12 months we managed to save about 2 tons of materials from landfill, which means around 2 tons of materials from being turned into new goods. And while that's a great achievement for 2 people in a tiny little store in Geelong, there's also obviously a hell of a long way to go to have a real impact on all the waste that we produce, and that's where the next step comes in. In order for reuse to have a really big impact on all of our environmental footprints, there's 2 groups of people that need to be supported. We need to be able to support the makers and allow them to flourish and give them exposure. And at the same time, we need to be able to support the buyers. We need to be able to support all these people who are out there who really want to have an impact and really want to live more sustainably, but are really struggling to do it conveniently. To support these two areas, we think that three things are needed. First, we need a place where people can dream. We need a place where people can think and create and discuss and brainstorm and come together on ideas to make more sustainable, more reused products. And we need a space to buy. We need a space where people can walk in as if it's any other shop and purchase amazing things that suit all of their needs that are made predominantly from reclaimed materials. And finally, we need a place to do. We need somewhere that people can come if they've got a broken thing, or they need help repairing something, or they want to learn how to fix things themselves. And that needs to be a place that can support all the different makers and remakers and repairers that are out there and give them a central location where people can find them and people can make the most of their skills. Dream, buy and do. We see Dream as a cafe, a spot that people can sit down, discuss, think, create. Buy is obviously a retail space, an extension of what we're already doing with the Reimaginarium, but bringing people a range of goods that's good enough that they come not just out of interest, but they come because they need something, and they come because they know they're going to find it there. And Do's a workshop. Do's a space that can host repair workshops, it can host white goods repairers, it can host small electronics people, it can host clothing repairers, it can host workshops. It can bring all these individuals who are working out there in the community to repair and remake and reimagine things and bring them right front and centre in front of all the people who are out there who really want their services. We see these three elements as the three most important things to growing the amount of reuse that's happening in Australia, and we want to bring them all together under one roof. This is what we see as the next stage for the Reimaginarium. To date, the Reimaginarium has been completely self-funded. Myself and my wife, we've poured our love and our attention and our passion and dedication and our savings into making this business what it is now. But we need your help to get to this next stage. To bring all these elements together, we need the help of the community, and we need the help of the remakers, and we need the help of all the people who want to see more reuse in Australia. So today, we're launching a crowdfunding campaign to help us put Dream, Buy and Do together under one roof. I believe that reuse, repair, repurposing, reimagining, all of these things can make a real difference to the way that we live and to our environment. If you like what you've seen so far, then please help us make it a reality. If you believe in what you see, please support us. If you've got family or friends who might be interested in what we're doing, share this video with them, share our campaign with them. If you know politicians or business owners or people who own lots and lots of shops, let them know what we're up to. We're little fish in a big pond, and we need all the help we can get to get the word out there. But we're confident that together we can make a difference, and we're going to be working our asses off to make it happen.